Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully sound is okay. Need to finish sorting a thing out in Music Streamer. There we go, I've now got 6 hours of music queued. Took a moment. So, this, unholy mess, is libImage. I have been working on this chunk of code since 2007 for this file. This isn't the oldest one of the bunch though. Yeah. 2006, 2007, somewhere around there. It's some janky old code. So the idea of today's stream is that, well, I should say, I guess, this half of this stream, because I'm probably going to take a break around supper time and then switch over to Doom. Because, I mean, who doesn't like blowing stuff up and killing zombies and, you know, hell demons? Awesome. Doom is awesome. You should play Doom. So the idea, yeah, as I say, is to try and modernize this code some more. I've already done some of this on the ICO loader, but you can see before and after on respectively the left and the right hand side of the screen. After is nice, neat C++ 11 code, and before is horrible awfulness made of Undefined Behaviour in C++ 98. Interspersed with a little bit of more modern C++, so yeah. I'm gonna start by going after ICO header, I think, today. Which, yeah, yikes. This could take a bit of doing. So I've got 3 numbers that it wants to read in. I think they're all little endian. This is where I should actually go and bring up the specs for the ICO format. That would be a good idea. If I can find them again. And then now, of course, thanks to initial coin offerings, this makes trying to find the ICO file format a lot harder. Because you go and search for ICO, and you don't get what you're looking for. Oh yes. Oh yes. I may have an offline copy of some of the documentation. Docs maybe? No. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think that's a whole pile of stuff that needs to go, but apparently I don't have a documentation tree that has the ICO docs in. Oh dear. Well, Wikipedia, helpfully enough, does have some information on the file format. Ah, that's what I wanted to know. All values are in little endian byte order. So one of the things we can do to kind of clean up the header side of things, if we go after where that's read in, which one of these readers is it? Because I know I had problems with it last night. Ah, okay, it's this one here. You can see I'm currently reading in just 3 numbers, ignoring all endianness, etc. And this is just awful. This is a bad idea. And I can also get rid of some of these comments. Oh, yeah, I know, right? It's a Microsoft format though, so I mean, you're going to be hoping for a very, very long time. So... how do I want to do this? yeah, really. So that should have made a variable called header, which is, yeah, a reference to the ICO header. So now we can do a read on reserved, then type, then count. But I'm actually going to do read LE, which will take care of all the endianness problems for me. It was type then count, wasn't it? So I already removed a bit of UV. That's always nice. And we can then also do if header.reserved. Yep, they did used to run Windows on HPC clusters. It is cursed. It is extraordinarily cursed. We haven't done that in a long time though. Because it turns out that Windows is shite for it. Who knew? Okay, so one of the other things I think I'm gonna do with this header in the decoder structure, the old decoder structure, as I work on moving this code forward, I'm actually going to flatten this structure out a whole pile, because we know we have to have a header, so there's no point making it a separate allocation. I mean, it depends on what you're doing with it. But I guess the first thing I better do with... Oh, actually, with regards to memory allocation of the structure, what I should probably do is I should probably... flatten it. Oh. Which has just made a very large quantity of code very pissed off, but that's okay. Really? Okay. Do you want to talk a bit about what about them scares you? That was completely the wrong bit of code to go and remove. Let's try removing that chunk instead. There we go. Is it the syntax that bothers you, or... Fair enough. So, in other languages it's just an equal sign, and that's fair enough, but C++ made it so that equals quite specifically always means assignment. There is elision of assignment, which helps, but, like, this is a perfect textbook example here of where I'm assigning a variable, but strictly speaking, PIF there actually goes through two initializations. It's just one of them gets elided, usually. There are ways to force it to not be elided, which is kind of a problem, and the reason why we do this, the way I should really do this is I should actually squarely braces this expression and then get rid of the equal sign. And now I've done a assignment, but I've not, because I've just initialized a variable. C++. It's a thing. I'm going to ignore that particular instance for right now because this function ideally is going to be going away completely, so I don't actually care about the UB involved. Because this cast is bad. Don't cast like that. So let's see where that got us. Well, that's good. Nothing's extraordinarily broken there. That's an ICO file that read quite happily. Nice. There are some problems with this code. This is why we're doing this. Thanks, Leak Sanitizer. So... this definitely feels like it shouldn't be a allocation in this way. I think this wants to be fixed vector. I think entries is a fixed vector. But I also want to move header out of the old style structure and into the new. Choices. Which do I do first? Well, that's part of why I'm thinking this, because fixed vector allows the optimizer to much more aggressively optimize the code. It's kind of lovely like that. Actually, it's fixed underscore vector because substrate. Perfect. don't go and rename across all files, I just want you to rename in this one file. Sometimes IDs can be a bit stupid. That's a lot of files that's going through. That was supposed to be an in-file rename. Come on, IDE. Well, so the reason that it's doing this is because it doesn't realize that this structure is only visible in this one file. Possibly because of out-of-date tracking information thanks to adding that header. Which I can fix actually. I can just do a real quick rebuild and that'll fix that. So it does the dumb thing rather than the smart thing. I'm actually going to hit cancel on that. Fine, we'll keep those names as they currently are, and I'll go and fix the fallout, we'll call it, from converting entries here to a fixed vector. In fact, I'll actually do something special with the structure, which is I'm going to make it so that this is brace initialized, and this will automatically initialize this when it's created. It contributes part of the default constructor of the type, which is just cool. In fact, that line should be in the read header bit, like that. So, what I'm doing here, to explain what the crap this syntax does, is this actually infers from the left-hand side what the type has to be for this braced initializer list, and actually converts it into a constructor call to fixed vector with this argument. That's just cool. I don't have to write quite so much type stuff, which is ultimately good. It's great! I don't know what you're talking about. And none of the other places that that's used broke, because, well, it's really, really ickily long to type. We're talking about having to copy this bastard thing here. It is better that I don't have to say the type, honestly. But all of the places that I'm using this, because of the way that I wrote fixed vector, this just all continues to work. So, that's nice. But now that's automatically memory managed for me, and yeah. And yeah, while I respect that you disagree with me on this one, when the types get more complicated than the one for just this, you really don't want to have to be retyping the types lots. This is honestly the better way to do it. Even if it is cursed. I mean, if I get my cursor in the right place, I think my IDE even helps me with this one, but hey. Let's see if I can now do that rename. You'd have to start writing a lot of type def aliases and uniquely name them for the number of times I'm going to end up doing a fixed vector switch. Oh, this is why it took so long. It found a whole ton of places where it really wants to change it, and I really don't want it to. Including in user lib. Not lib, include. Ah, that's a different structure, that's why it's not highlighted. Okay. Although it hasn't changed it, it's suggesting that I did. These are all suggestions, but they're all unchecked. And not that it could anyway, because I'm not going to give it root. But what it is going to do is it's going to change load ICO, which is exactly what we want to do. Yeah. You'd probably be going like, what's wrong? What happened to Rachel? It's gonna do this for every single one of these, isn't it? Lux. Oh well, we've got time. How's everyone doing today? There might be. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It looks to be, by default, wanting to do the same thing anyway, so I'm not too worried about this. It's usually, because it's Visual Studio Code and because it is the C++, it's not, because I have multiple structures with the same field name. And I only want to replace fields in the one structure. It's doing, by doing it this way, it's doing a context-aware find replace. Because IntelliSense. That's fair. That one did a single file thing. Oh, no, it just was faster. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, that's fair. Oh, I need to set up Clang Tidy on this code base. That's a thing. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I personally wouldn't do either. I hate Go, but you know, that's me. I'm weird like that, I know. Yeah, that'll get cleaned up once it's in the other structure, so that's fine. Go doesn't jive with me. There's a lot of things I want... Oh, yeah. There are a lot of things I want to be able to do that it just flat out can't. Its error handling is, in my honest opinion, with the way that C++ 20 and 23 is evolving error handling, relatively retarded. No offense to retarded people, but it is pretty brain dead. And the lack of, like, having to do all of the cleanup and stuff myself rather than being able to hand it off to the compiler because the compiler does know better than me. Yeah, I couldn't go. You can probably already see that this was written in a very C style of C++ originally. And that's why I've got like this cleanup macro, and I really want to get rid of the cleanup macro, for example. Because it doesn't jive. It makes me very unhappy. It works, but it's awful. Let's see if I broke anything. That one's always going to do that because I've got a bug in the test application and I haven't yet fixed it. That works. Cool. We haven't yet fixed those other problems, so that's fair enough. I could have just done an update on that file. Oh well. What do I call that? We'll split a difference on that one. So it looks like images here is another fixed vector candidate. But first I'm going to move that into the new style control structure. Okay, fair enough. I would have to give you that it aggressively has a design philosophy and it sticks to it. But that's like as much as I can give you on that one. What do I... trying to think of how to document what this field is, because I'm trying to write documentation on this as I go. I guess that'll do. Oh, right, it needs me to unpack the context type for that.
Very special one. I lost her.
Oh, can't be const. Because it makes a header const. Okay. Lots of CTX having to go in. This was gonna happen anyway, so, you know. This is where I turn to my reference version, if you will. Goes there. That's how I deal with that. Why is I still complaining that there's a broken line? Oh. That's why. Yep, that's better. I'm actually going to pass the header directly into, well, a reference to the header directly into read header here. Get rid of a whole pile of indirection. I just got motivated to work on this again. Especially as the cleanup in libAudio, which is another of my libraries, has gone so well that it's like, I should probably sort out the image one, because even a couple of days ago, this library didn't even build anymore. It was that badly neglected. So part of the motivation for me doing what I've just done here is as I work this code, one of the things I can do is in decoder context t here, I can pass it the file descriptor that's come in, and I can actually move this read header into decoder context t's constructor if I really wanted. Now I'm probably not actually going to do that, simply because I need to be able to detect if it fails. But it's a thing I could do. Certainly this makes for nicer code later down the road when we move everything into ICOT OpenR. There's a function that I haven't yet written which this all gets moved into eventually. Hey, one of the warnings is gone. Like that. We still have a memory leak to fix, but that's okay. Okay. Oh, this is an awesome song. I really want to fix that now. Yeah. What's the name of that? Oh, entries. Just trying to think. That should... That should work, yeah. Now, where's... IncoImage, there it is. I need to do some default construction stuff here, because otherwise... Well, the UB that was that memset will no longer be happy for the rest of the library, because the library is expecting a certain state to hold. So it better. Ah, this is starting to look way, way better. Way fewer memory allocations explicit in the code base. Yeah, let's compile that and see what happens. Okay. That's not crashed at least, so... Cool. I think rather than passing a number of entries, no, the index, sorry, of the entry into this function, this should probably actually take a reference to the entry to fill. Which then enables this to be a modern loop. Yeah. Now, I happen to know that my testing around the IcoSpec compliance is wrong. Yeah, this is the whole... There are no invalid values for the width and the height. So I'm gonna get rid of that, because it's a bad check. The reserved byte should be 0, so... we will check that. That's already looking nicer. Just quickly committing that. Welcome back. That's starting to look a bit more like something modern. Starting, yeah. Slowly getting there. There's still a lot of problematic code around. Ah, that's now unused code. Excellent. So... I guess that gets us into the meat of the problem and the reason why we've got a memory leak. Once the entries have been read, as part of reading an image to pass back to the user, I then go and pull the actual ICO data out of the file. And this code is just a god-awful mess. Let's revisit the structures for a moment. Yeah, so like, the BMP header here is a guaranteed, has to exist structure. There is no reason why I made that a pointer. It's more interaction, it's more bullshit for the compiler to have to deal with. It makes the code go slower. So... I'm inclined to flatten that structure as well. So this is this tiny little structure here. This also needs all of the names fixed though. Palette can be a pointed entry because palettes are optional in ICO files. It's doing that thing again, isn't it? Damn it. So what was for lunch, Steffi? I am indeed updating the naming convention, yes. The names as they are honestly aren't all that maintainable, because it's very hard to tell what's a structure, what's a type, etc. What's a type, what's an instance of a type, what's a variable. Like, it's a bad naming convention that I'm getting rid of, because it was also inconsistent throughout the entire code base too. I mean, like, really? Versus this? It's all over the place, and like, fair enough. Tasty, tasty. So yeah, I'm fixing the naming convention because I need one, not three naming conventions in this code base, and it might as well be one I'm more comfortable using nowadays. I hope it's about to do the right thing, otherwise it just broke some code, but hey. Yeah, well, also not having p underscore prefixes on stuff sometimes, but not always, and Can you tell this was written by a very much younger version of me? That's promising. I'll just take your word for that. Protect the innocent and all of that. And I'm meaning you, not the audience. What if I don't wanna? What? Yeah. Seems like a good idea to get rid of that. That one's complicated. Wonderful. Broken code for all. Because it's no longer an allocatable. I mean, it's okay. At the end of the day, this is kind of effectively a roast my code on stream day, so... Peanut Gallery, go nuts! Or something. Oh, because I'm trying to free it at the end. Okay, fine. Sorry, you can't see what I've got on my right-hand screen at the moment because I've not got it on stream, but... Oh. Hi, Genstock, your notification. But I was running a compilation as I went, just so I could see how we were doing. Nope, not certificate. Notifications. Ask. Reload. There we go. I mean, like, really? Really, 14-year-old me? Did it really come to that? Actually, let's check. When did I write that comment? I wrote it 10 years ago. Go me. So go 17-year-old me. I'm gonna quickly fix this mess. I have a lot of what was I thinking moments with this kind of code, but at the same time I can see why I wrote things this way, especially when we consider that C++ 11 did not exist. And I didn't know better about undefined behavior and what constitutes undefined behavior in C++ at this point. Like, a lot of this stuff does make sense in the context of time. Still bad, but oh, and you're probably also noticing, by the way, I'm using Ninja as my build command because when I started working on this codebase again, I rewrote the build system from a shitty Makefile based one to a Meson and Ninja based one, which we will actually revisit later in the stream because I'm going to need to change things a little bit in the build system once we finish with the ICO loader. Mm-hmm. Cool. So, I'm gonna have to go and individually read every single entry in this structure so that I can read it little endian. Oh, joys. Now, while that thinks about renaming, let's just quickly check. Ah, right. Does this mention... It does not mention about that structure. Bollocks. Okay, this is not a helpful blog post. Oh hey! There are actually copies of the structures up on Microsoft's documentation portal. Good. We'll come back to that. So this is the bitmap info header. Really? 3 references in there, all right there. Oh. Fine. Oh. Oh yeah, it's bad, but you know, what can you do? Okay, so size should be size of bitmap structure. And the width and height should agree with the width and height in the icon directory entry. So at least some things we can verify. That's nice. Yeah, because it looks like I'm just reading the structure just to get it out of the way, and I'm never actually looking inside the structure, which is really bad. Yep, that is exactly what I've gone and done. Ah. I'm gonna do 2 things at the same time here. I'm gonna actually do that. Then I can work on the structure names at the same time as I work the reading code. You were told wrong. In C++, it's preferred. It actually enables some very nice optimizations. Especially if the compiler realizes that, well, actually, that thing that was a pointer, which, by the way, pointers can be pointers to null, that's the problem with them, whereas references cannot point to null, they cannot be bad references. That's actually invalid. You get the benefit that the compiler might well either inline the function, or get rid of the reference entirely and refer to a local copy of the thing if it's small enough to fit in, say, registers. So it doesn't actually necessarily imply any performance penalty, but at worst it implies one pointer dereference that it can guarantee is not null and does not alias, which enables some really fantastic optimizations that if you use star in your function signature, you're bollocksed, and if you pass by value, you might have also just have pessimized optimizations. I hope that makes some sense. Also, I get a mutability guarantee here that I don't get with pointers. FD here is not allowed to change at all. This is a const reference to a const value. To do that with a pointer, well, I'd have to write that. To make a const thing that's also a const pointer. So this const refers to the pointerness, and this const refers to the type. Whereas this const refers to both the type and the reference. So I've got a non-mutable and a mutable thing. And actually that reference, that ampersand, is still const, because I can't change what header refers to. I can only change the contents of memory where that reference points. And it can't be null. And it can't alias. Const is cool. Const is essentially opt-in-mutability, or immutability I should say. Oh, why did they do that? Okay, what they've done is they've made this dots per meter x, dots per meter y. I don't know why they picked meter and not inch like everything else in display tech, or centimeters. Microsoft, you're just crazy. Yeah, at least it's SI units, but then you have to do a conversion from DPM to DPI to display anything. Because screens are all spec'd in dots per inch still. So it's extra maths. Why? And it's not even integer maths, it's floating point maths. Or fixed point maths. So, why? Yeah, that seems reasonable. Better naming them before, which the names before didn't really make any damn sense. Am I spelling meter right? No, I am spelling it wrong. Yes, I always get it wrong though. I think that'll definitely make future me very much happier that I've actually bothered to note down what the hell those fields are about. I know what they've tried to do. They've tried to name it CLR as in color used. Actually, count's not used because used has a different meaning in my head. I'm still not happy with that name though. It's more like a count of the number required. I want to say count somewhere in that name. Oh yeah, don't worry. This library was not written for American correctness. It was written for the author's correctness and peace of mind. Me. I'm gonna rename this to color IDX required count. Not that word. Yeah, that'll do. So, at least now we're reading the entire structure in again. return header.size equals size of ico bitmap header t. At least check one field of the entire structure. If I'm gonna read the damn thing, I better. Alright? And I wonder, is this after or before? I've got image there, so I have the bitmap header already. Oh wait, no, that's me filling the bitmap header. Do I have... I must have the dictionary entry already, because that's how I know to read the kind of image I need to read, right? Yeah, header entries icon. Because what we're going to do is we're going to pass this other structure in as well, but a const copy of it, a const reference to it, so that I can then verify the width and height fields. If they're right in two places, they're probably correct. And this seals a bit of a security flaw in the current code. The order in which I'm passing things in means that all of the const stuff stays on the left, which is better for the order in which arguments are passed and then used, because stacks. That way header will be the numerically lowest, I think it is. No. Please. It depends on architecture. Anyway. I already feel better for just doing that. Well, okay, save for the fact that that's pissed at me. Why? Oh, because we never renamed those. Oh, wrong window. So that's looking promising. I've just done that build. That's not a good sign though. Why are they all coming out black? Oh dear. Actually, this will be, well, no, I'll do printf because then I can dump out some of the values. So I've just quickly added a little debugging code. Interesting. What? Why is the height 256? Okay, so that is the height coming out of this structure. Okay. Okay, for right now, just to get the code working again, I'm gonna comment that bit out. We know we should check that value, but we'll make a note. Nope. Hey! Okay, so that was the problem. So ICO entry still needs cleaning up of a far more. But I'm gonna rename this function first. And squish it into the ICO namespace. Part of the motivation for namespacing everything, of course, is because I have multiple custom loaders and having to prefix everything ICO underscore gets old in a hurry. Or even just ICO. So having him in a namespace just makes a hell of a lot of sense from an ODR perspective. It doesn't cost me anything at the end of the day, because these are not visible symbols. So, actually, why am I scrolling up in that one? I have the right function right there, I should just scroll up in the other side. I'm just gonna trust the IDE at this point because it seems to be doing the right thing. Razor 1911, but dub nude. This is a good demo too. I know exactly which demo this is from. Let's find a better name for Ico bump size. So it's image data length, I think. So we have a length and an offset in that structure. That offset, by the way, is from the beginning of the file, which, yes, does mean that ICO files cannot exceed 4 gigabytes. Probably for the better. In fact, we should probably put a test in here that if the file trying to be read is more than 4 gigabytes, it is impossible for it to be an ICO file. That's also a problem we've got with the testing code for the header checks, but we'll come back to that. Testing whether or not it's too big is really, really cheap thanks to FTT. So while it is a bit extra, it's worth it. So, okay, I did that. That's dumb of me. Oh. Gotta love a good bit of French. Especially such soft-spoken and just prettily done. Gotta appreciate that. How do I test those other entry values? That's a good question. Can I? Reserved should be 0. Cool. Great. Are any of these other values testable? No. No, they're not. Bollocks. and it's complaining that these can't be read-LE because they are single byte values. There is no endian to them. Just quickly committing that. So, palettes next, I think. Yeah, we're now going to deploy some unique footer fun. Finally. Finally get to start plugging some of the memory leaks. The real memory leaks. I hate that I'm passing the palette into this thing rather than passing IcoImageT references or something along those lines, because this makes this a little trickier. Yeah, let's do that. Probably should make this thing return a non-void because allocations can fail. And so the calling function should know that it failed. We'll come back around and do some no discard in a bit. All of these reader functions are no discard. Just take that as a given. But we'll actually tell the compiler that during this cleanup, just in case someone comes along later and it's like, oh, I don't need to check that. Yes, you do. What is image? Image is an IcoImageT. And because I'm a doofus, these are not references yet. I don't want to pick that fight right now. I want to pick it a little bit later. We'll do this fix to this function and then we'll fix the stupidity of the extra pointer in here. It's a shame that I can't easily benchmark this code, but we are actually improving the performance of this code, believe it or not. Not operator arrow versus dot. I've got the wrong one there. I think if I recall correctly, unique putters default construct as null, so I can shorten that a little bit. Yeah. If not, well, return image dot palette and ft dot read of image dot palette number of entries. Planet. Whoops. That's a typo. It seems silly, I know, to have a two-line function like this, but it does make some sense, I promise. This isn't actually a bad idea. Especially if I put the marker inline on the function, which I am about to. Because now it doesn't carry a performance penalty. The use short, however, why is there still... Well, that's fair. Yeah. Why have I still got a Windows type in there? Why the... Okay, it wants to be a uint16t. Let's use proper types. This is because the library used to be for Windows. That was its origin story, is I wrote this on Windows, and back in the bad old days, I didn't know about the student types, and they weren't really supported on Windows anyway. Windows was bad at this. So I have a whole pile of stuff that I did when I moved it onto Linux, so I didn't have to rewrite tons of code, basically. It was bad though, because of course, naive me still didn't yet know about student properly, and so... Yeah, that whole mess needs to just go away already. Kind of the lazy port. There were things you couldn't be lazy about. There were things that you could, or it appeared you could, and that was one of those things that it appeared you could. So I did. Oh yeah, that's for sure. Oh, I missed an ampersand. That's why the compiler is cranky. So you can see the carnage that happened there. Whoops. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh no. What? What? Oh no. Oh phew. Okay, I missed the exclamation mark in the previous commit, read entry. I said return entry dot reserved, not return not entry dot reserved. Those have very different meanings. Hey, we've reduced the number of memory leaks. What do you know? That's awesome. Let us fix the bug in this commit. This is why I use interactive mode, by the way. So that was the whoopsie I made. then we then have well, in this case, I'm actually going to leave that in the commit history. I could probably fix it by squashing, but I can't be arsed. Also, git commit fixer? Huh. Okay, I didn't know about that. And this, folks, is why man is your favorite friend. The program, that is. I might have had to have beaten this into some apprentices over the years. Yeah, that's nice. I am probably gonna use that more, honestly. Yeah. It's funny the number of times we've broken this particular 3 functions. Fair enough. Oh, really? Yeah, you really struggle with the naming thing, don't you? I'm just wondering if I try and reorder a few things here. No, I'm gonna wait to do that until we actually go and hit these functions, because yikes. It's gonna be a whole thing. Ah, not git log, git commit, there we go. I mean, as you can probably tell, I am not great at the naming thing either, otherwise this wouldn't be called libImage. It's fairly on the nose as to what the thing does, but it's not particularly unique, and it's not a particularly good name. But I'm not even going to try and apologize for that, because It is what it is. Just trying to work out, can I improve that at all? I can. I'm just trying to think about unification as well here, where like this function is different to these other ones in that it pulls out the FD rather than just using the FD. The latter is more preferential in this case. Because in direction, compiler can now cache some more stuff for me and just do the better thing, because I now refer to this in two places, so it will probably keep that on the heap or something like that, because lifetimes. So, that already improved this function. Can anybody tell me why? There's actually two whys. I'll show the diff just so that you can see what I did there. What two things have I just improved in this function? Correct, that is one of them. What's the other one? Which isn't so much a correctness thing as much as it is way a performance thing. Well, yeah, that is true, but that's not actually what I'm aiming for with the question. I'll give you a hint, it's to do with lifetimes. And the heap. Well, stack, sorry, not heap. Okay, so if you declare all of your variables up top, maybe without initializers, etc., what you're forcing the compiler to do is spill every single one of them to the stack, and it has to allocate them into a stack frame. It has no choice. By doing what I've just done here, the compiler may just be like, nah, I don't need a stack frame item for that. Because the lifetime of the object starts at the definition, and you've just declared a massive block of them. So they all start their lifetime at that moment. And it can't be smarter, because without the equal sign, it's not allowed to. In theory it could, but the standard denies them that. Denies it that, rather, because you can't prove beyond any reasonable certainty of doubt that a given variable is not used between where it is declared and where an equal sign then appears later down in the codebase. It gets weird. Yes, really. It is actually impossible to prove that between CPP there being defined and then it actually finally being given a value that there is no UB read in between. For more complicated examples, of course, it's a general case thing. For this example, yes, the compiler probably could prove it, but because it can't in the general case, it's banned from trying to do that optimization. And I just forced a block of 5 values to go on the heap, just... and it sucks. It is, but it's also what the compiler ends up just having to do. Oh yeah, I greatly dislike it too. Don't worry, you're not alone. This is a whole thing. Yeah, so this is much cleaner, and it comes with a performance benefit. And a compiler correctness benefit, and just, what else can I throw in there, really? Is, that one should actually be in there and is const. Const also helps a lot here. If I declare these as const, the compiler's now really happy with me. Because it now gets to build in a whole pile more optimizations where it can be like, well, you know, instead of actually having this as a value on your local function stack, I might just read it from this here and then hold it in a register until here, and then reuse the register, because it knows from dead code analysis that the value died and is const, so it can't change. Nice. I mean, that's fair. Too many projects and something, right? This really should return bool, because it's doing reads that can fail, so reading the palette can fail. Yeah, them's feels. I really want to make this I kind of really want to make this a const extra. Oh, sorry, not a const extra, a constant out here. But it doesn't look like that's actually the sensible thing to do. The reason being, of course, that this mod 4 operation in both cases is really expensive. Though, that said, I wonder if the compiler is going to be eliding that out to be and 3. No, it's not a shift. It's the AND operation. Divide would be shift. I'm gonna prove this in Compiler Explorer. Because I want to know for absolute certain that this is actually what's going to happen. Let's reconfigure the environment. I don't want to run the compiled output. This is C++11. Nice. Oh, it actually's gone a step further. That's awesome. So, div-l actually produces both the division and the modulus at the same time and puts them in two different registers. The compiler is not only doing the divide for me, but it is then ignoring the normal division result, and it is using the for free I just calculated this remainder and testing that. Who knew? Friggin' awesome what compilers can do, right? Possibly, yeah. I really made that a uint 32T. Wow. I should have made that a uint 8. And that... there we go, I can force it to generate the code for me. So yeah, it is just doing an AND on that second instance where I just mod by 4. Awesome. Well, Compiler Explorer is made of just pure win. So that's much cheaper than it would otherwise appear. It needs to go to being const uint 8T, not a 32-bit number. I'm pretty sure there's a version of Array that does that. Oh. No, I didn't do an overload for Array there, actually. That's fair. I probably should, but that's a different project. I'll also help the compiler a little bit with that. This is actually a row stride. And is const. Slightly more descriptive name. I kind of want to port in a type I wrote for pcat that allows me to iterate on a number. So I can do for auto underscore colon I'm trying to think what I call the type, but basically an index iterator type on height, and then they'll go from 0 to height that way rather than having to explicitly have the loop there. Let us improve this loop a little bit all the same though. Yeah, it's a thing that I've never seen anybody else writing C++ actually bother to go and do, but it is a really nice thing to be able to do. Yeah, well, it's gonna be the same thing for Viper. I'm just quickly going and finding that piece of code because it's cool enough I want to show it on stream. Yeah. There we go. That's how you do it. It's not even hard. I've just never seen anybody bother to do it before. So type 1, index sequence, that controls, essentially it would be a Python X range, or range if you're Python 3. And then index iterator is the actual iteration type itself that gets incremented until you're there. Anyway. That's fair. Hey, M2NS perk. Is that Spark? M2N Spark? It is, well, you can kind of think of it as a tag. It is a, my brain just froze up on the proper name for it. Attribute. What it does, attribute, not an annotation. Unfortunately, I wish it was called an annotation. That would be more useful. What it does is it tells the compiler that if you try and discard the result of this function, issue a warning. It is the same as, actually I can show you what it does on this function using the old style syntax. Warn unused result. I think that's correct. No, that was not right. Warns, doesn't error. Just warns. But if you put where on, then yes, it would error. I've forgotten the name of the thing. Good thing I have substrate around. Oh, it's in depths, that's why I can't see it. Depths, substrate, substrate, internal depths. Oh, okay. I know what I've done wrong here. I have to declare the function, then I can get it to do the right thing. There you go. That's what it does. So every single one of these warnings at the bottom here, that is being generated by me basically marking the function. You have to check what this returns. no exceptions. And casting to void does not silence this warning. Only an if statement or an assignment silences this warning. Does that answer your question? On the left there you can see the old style pre-C++ 14 syntax, and on the right there, post 14. Post 14 is much nicer. But unfortunately this library is not written in C++ 14 or newer. It is... yeah. Oh yeah, it is a very, very nice attribute. Ah, hey, welcome. It can be sometimes a little tricky to know who's who from Freddy. Yeah, especially with Tired, that is so true. They have like 3 different aliases as far as I can tell. It's a little extra, but that's okay. Extra is not a bad thing. Alright, I'm gonna also move height here into this. And I'm gonna help the compiler with indexing into her CTX header entries icon by replacing this. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, who wasn't oblivious about that though, right? I think CTX is now unused in this function. Yeah, it looks like. Which I think now means that, save for the FD there... Huh. Those are feels. Those are day job feels, for sure. Yeah, that's big time feels. I am very intimately familiar with this particular feels because of when I had to move GitLab. Which was a whole nightmare, as you might remember. I wasn't just upgrading GitLab when I had to take that down. I actually had to move its host. That's part of why it took so long. That's right. I went from ARM to x86. Though at least it's AMD 64 and it is an actual AMD device under the hood, which is nice. Could be worse. I'm gonna replace that as well with const FDT and get done with that. That's so much nicer. Oh my goodness. It's amazing how small little changes like this can make just such a huge difference to the quality of the code. And now the compiler will have a better time with that code as well. The other thing I can do is I can const that, because I don't actually change that value. Fix the naming of that, and then we'll just call that length. Yeah, that works much better. Let's see if I broke anything. Oh, haha, I have. Fair enough. Okay, so one or two of these lines, like row extra here, actually I can just set that to auto, and that gets rid of a warning. Row stride as well is because channels per pixel's an integer? Why is that an integer? Oh, because of the lacking U. I hate that constants are signed by default. Unsigned int, so we'll make that auto, and that should still be an unsigned int. It is. Excellent. Auto is awesome. Yeah, that's a fair comment. Alright, having done all that, have I broken it? The ultimate question we keep coming back round to. No. Good. I still need to update all the test images because that particular test image is from an old project of mine that is long dead, and there it shall remain. I need to purge the repo of those files and replace them. Quickly commit those changes. So we now namespace. Breaking everything again, but that's okay. It seems like even though I wrote this code really quite badly, I should be fine. If you're using Nginx, because it'll act as a SSL proxy, so the SNI will still show up correctly. It seems like even though I wrote this code like garbage, because of certain small things I did when writing the code, like aggressively having each of these be very much like, I'll use a little bit of this function, a little bit of this function, a little bit of this function, kind of cookie cutter mixing bowl readers. It's saving us a lot of pain now. So good question. I don't have the answer to that one, but that's a very good question. Trial by fire, the best kind of trial. Ganbatte ne. Actually, auto, alpha image. Oh, not stood. Substrate, make unique, no throw to maintain the existing kind of way it works. And it's going to be pissed off that I got that there. Oh, fair enough. I don't know Caddy, so... I know how it works with Nginx. Oh yay. To be fair, Nginx is not that heavy, so... Oh. Whoops. Wrong kind of bracket. I do really like Nginx, by the way, for what it's worth. Apache, on the other hand, can go and burn. Not sorry. Interesting. Interesting. See, my Nginx configs are usually not that long. Haha, that's fair. Yeah, so on the Nginx front, my Nginx configs are usually not that long, except when I start doing lots of stuff with proxying my proxy with a proxy type stuff. I've had to do some gnarly proxy configs. But then I think there isn't anything that is short for. So, and yeah, this is nice to get to convert all this code to nice C++ 11 because it is just nasty. Does it? Oh. Fair enough. Yeah. Let's break a few bits of code here. I committed many, many sins when I wrote this. Why would I even put the outer brackets on this expression? Bad, Rachel. If extra alpha is 0, it stays 0, otherwise it's 1. And that actually means the uint entity. Actually, I can make that a bool. That's the most hilarious change I've ever had to make. if extra alpha do a thing. This is +1, and this is... Hang on. Is that... Okay, what I did here was bad, and I should be ashamed of myself. If extra alpha this loop. Now I fixed it. Ooh. No, that was correct like that. It's slowly getting there. This function is a bit of a pain, if nobody else can tell. This expression is nasty, and I really want to do better, but I'm not sure I can. Unless, I guess I could make that into like a one-line function. I might do that actually. Might as well also make that const because the image pointer can't change, but the image data can. Yeah, I'm gonna make a one-line function real quick. This returns a uint8t. I think that's right. Yeah, uint8t. I am going to skip the song because this one goes on and on. Oh, yeah, it does. You probably want the restart if not exit policy, which is it'll restart the container automatically for you if the container itself crashes in some... Yeah, unless stopped, that's the one. which then makes it so that if you manually stop it, it listens to you, but otherwise it will automatically restart it for you. Curious. Oh, huh. Yikes. I can probably even make this const extra. Whee! Now, I actually need to fix a thing that's a hidden problem here. Let's actually return to 55. There we go. Make these unsigned. So what I'm doing here with these U's is making it so all of the bit shifty maths is all kept unsigned. Otherwise, there's a hidden warning that Clang Tidy would actually be spitting out, which is basically telling me that you're using signed in your bitwise. Don't do that, because it carries a performance penalty, which is backwards to how everything else works with regards to those two. Yeah, that was worth it. Yeah, it is very broken. That's much nicer, no? Ah. Oh, the before was basically this thing. So that's after. A little bit of an improvement. So, you know, just a small improvement. You can only read it now. Oh well. I am gonna make this a constant as well. What the f to name it though? Total alpha, I guess? Extra alpha is basically, so the alpha channel here doesn't have to be a number of bits that ends up being a power of 2. So if you've got, say, 9 bits of alpha, there's an extra entire byte at the end that I have to account for and unpack. That's what extra alpha is for. So you'll do width times height gets you to, say, 9. That's a packed alpha amount that I then have to unpack here. Well, so if your image is 3 by 3, this is 1 bit alpha. So you've now got 9 bits of alpha for 9 pixels as a packed set of alpha bits. So extra alpha is accounting for that extra byte at the end and properly unpacking it, and yeah, it's nasty. It has Plusner written just all over it. Actually, I won't break that statement out into 2 lines like that. Okay.